You've scrolled through Instagram reels promising tantric secrets to unleash wild orgasms. You've heard clinics advertise sexual enlightenment with breathwork and positions. But here's the blunt truth. These flashy formulas betray the ancient lineage. Tantra isn't a sex manual. It's a radical dissolution of self. And yet modern charlatans package sacred rites as hedonistic tricks. I'm Silent Flame. Today, we pry open the mouth of the mythic beast, unveiling how sex tantra was hijacked, why genuine mastery eludes most, and what remains when you strip away the fantasies. To decode the hype, trace Tantra's roots far from erotic studios. Tantra's radical roots, born in India's shadowy thickets, early Tantras aimed to transgress every boundary, ritual, caste, even death. Sexual imagery served as symbols of union, not instructions for salacious indulgence. Myth of the instant orgasmic Buddha. Modern marketing sells quick enlightenment via bedroom acrobatics. Ancient texts laugh at this. Mastery unfolds across years, not hours, and rarely culminates in fireworks. Energetic alchemy, not animal magnetism. True Tantra works on prana channels, subtle currents of consciousness. It's less about thrust and more about the dissolution of boundaries between self and cosmos. The cost of corruption. When unscrupulous teachers promise sexual ecstasy, seekers chase surface thrills, often ending in confusion, addiction, or emotional collapse. The true alchemical fire demands inner purity, not outer performance. Strip away the glittering promises of tantric sex, and you find a path that cuts to the marrow of being, if you dare follow it beyond the bed. From glossy retreats in Bali to certified coaches selling six-figure packages, the modern sex tantra market thrives on your deepest longings. But make no mistake, every promise of ecstasy is also a sales pitch. Bali's bedroom gurus, Instagram famous couples hawk tantric workshops where half the time is spent selling branded oils and overpriced crystals. These influencers rake in thousands, while true lineage holders remain anonymous in Himalayan caves. Online certification factories. Clickbait ads promise Tantra Master credentials in 8 weeks. Behind the scenes, you get a slapdash script and a diploma with no lineage seal. They profit from your desire to transcend, offering certificates that open only the door to more commercialization. Luxury retreats versus sacred discipline. 5-star resorts rebrand as ashrams, where yoga mats are replaced by king-size beds draped in silk. The mantra, "You deserve this," hides the irony. True Tantra demands austerity, fasting, silence, and solitude, not spa treatments and poolside cocktails. The psychology of upsell. Once you taste a hint of heightened sensation, you're hooked. Bonus modules, VIP intensives, one-on-one coaching, each layer sold as deeper practice, yet each layer pulls you further from the path's raw edge. The real masters hide in obscurity. The flashy charlatans flaunt their brand. Beware, the loudest trumpet of liberation is often the emptiest. Genuine Tantra thrives in secrecy. Lineage holders guard esoteric transmissions closely, exactly what the marketplace predators exploit by pretending to possess the keys. The veiled lineage, authentic Tantras, are passed guru to disciple, often in whispered initiations at 3 a.m. No recording, no social posts, only living transmission. These guardians remain nameless to protect the sanctity of practice. False claims of descent. Some self-styled gurus fabricate lineage charts, linking themselves to legendary siddhas. They weave elaborate genealogies that collapse under scrutiny, yet followers flock, swayed by the allure of secret heritage. The price of visibility. True masters avoid the limelight. Social media fame demands accessibility. Secrecy demands devotion. Diachronic authenticity often requires anonymity, and irony lost on those who equate followers with authority. Discernment as the first practice. If Tantra is the art of inner vision, then your first tantric act is to pierce the veil of hype. Question every guru's claim, trace every lineage story, and test whether the teacher's silence matches their purported depth. In a forest crowded with pretenders, the slightest rustle of genuine presence can guide you home if you're quiet enough to hear it. Most people chase Tantra for carnal thrills, but real alchemy transmutes desire itself, turning raw craving into the spark of awakening. Yet this transformation demands fire hotter than any orgasm. Desire as fuel, not foe. Buddhism teaches craving breeds suffering, but Tantra sees that same fire as a furnace of liberation. Erotic energy, properly directed, can ignite insight. The provocation. What if your lust is your only way out of the prison of self? The pitfall of pleasure. Pleasure is a siren song. It seduces you into endless pursuit. True Tantra requires looking into that seduction, seeing pleasure's emptiness, and refusing to collapse your spirit into fleeting sensation. Pleasure becomes the riddle to solve, not the prize. Inner heat and subtle channels. In esoteric texts, Kundalini is the serpent fire coiled at the base of spine. It's not awakened by thrusts, but by the courageous gaze into the body's hidden currents, diagnosing subtle blockages that no spoonful of lube can ever clear. Mastery versus manipulation. The market teaches techniques, tactile tricks to fool the nervous system. Mastery demands renouncing all tricks, confronting your own addictions to arousal patterns, and daring to stand naked as energy surges without control. If pleasure is the sugar that lures you in, then pain, your heartbreak, your shame, your guilt, is the acid that dissolves the shell of craving. Only in that caustic embrace does the pearl of liberation emerge. Lay people imagine tantric ritual as elaborate bedroom choreography. In reality, these rites are coded languages, symbols meant to shatter the habitual mind, not spike your dopamine. Seal of union, not a position. Many equate yab-yum poses with perpetual coitus, but the union seal is a meditation posture, two figures in non-dual stillness, not gyrating bodies. Mistaking it for a sex trick is spiritual graffiti on sacred art. Mantra over ménage à trois. Some workshops promise group sex rituals. Traditional texts prescribe mantras and visualizations, not orgies. The promise of tantric threesomes is a sensationalist detour from the invocations meant to dissolve ego's boundaries. Offerings to inner deities, flowers and incense aren't decorations for a bedroom altar. They are offerings to archetypal energies within, wrathful, peaceful, formless. Misusing them as mood-setting props commodifies forces that demand reverence and restraint. Timing isn't everything. Sunrise or full moon hype sells false precision. Tantric timing aims to sync with subtle currents of mind, personal and cosmic rhythms, not planetary positions. Obsessing over calendars misses the point. Presence over preparation. When the ritual becomes a spectacle, you trade initiation for imitation, flashing lights of hedonism in place of the dark flame of inner transformation. Your craving for rapid transcendence makes you vulnerable to charlatans, to burnout, even to psychological collapse. True Tantra is a razor's edge. Misstep, and you bleed devotion into delusion. Emotional overdrive. Climaxing on command feels empowering until you crash. Seismic hormonal surges without integration trigger anxiety, depression, and disconnection from ordinary life. Spiritual materialism. I've mastered the techniques, therefore I'm awakened, is the most seductive trap. Tantra becomes a status symbol, not a path, an accessory for ego, not a mirror for emptiness. Energy dysregulation. Mishandled kundalini can scorch the nervous system, insomnia, heat sensations, intrusive visions. Without a skilled guide, seekers become lab rats in their own biochemistry. Cult formation. Fast-track ecstatic groups often morph into cults. Leaders promising higher initiation levels. Devotees shackled by secret vows. Dissenters labeled karmic obstacles. Toxic Tantra replicates every hazard of power abuse. Beware the shortcut that shortcuts your integrity. Every pill of ecstasy has its poison, and every promise of instant freedom hides a cage. Tantra poses as the ultimate transgression, yet its true mastery requires a sterner courage to uphold virtue where pleasure begs you to abandon it. Ethical courage over erotic thrills. Real Tantra tests your integrity. Resist the urge to exploit others for practice. Refuse to weaponize intimacy. It demands you live your vows when every fiber of your being cries for indulgence. The unspoken vow beyond formal pledges lies the silent promise to honor your partner's soul as fiercely as you chase your own liberation. Breaking that promise isn't a misstep. It's a betrayal of the path's core. Facing your shadow in the dark. True practitioners confront jealousy, envy, and possessiveness unleashed by partner practices. It takes grit to sit with those shadows rather than dodge them in another ritual or hookup. Sacred accountability. Authentic Tantra unfolds within a community of mirrors, peers who call you out when you slip. It's not a laissez-faire playground, but a crucible where moral lapses are the sparks that light your next insight. If you think Tantra is wild freedom, wake up. Its fiercest liberty is to stay bound by compassion when every temptation screams, break free. How do you know when you've crossed from technique to transformation? These are the tests that distinguish genuine alchemy from a hedonistic mirage. Diminishing, craving for craving. The first sign of real progress. Desire itself loses its pull. You no longer chase orgasms as trophies. Instead, you notice them as passing clouds, neither clinging nor craving. Inner peace amid intensity. True Tantra isn't high on sensation. It is steady in the storm of sensation. You remain grounded when energy surges, as unmoved as a mountain in an earthquake. Compassion, unconditioned. Your care extends beyond lovers to all beings. The spark that once ignited in sexual union now blazes as universal compassion, refusing to be hoarded by any form or body. Silence that speaks. Volumes. After rites and intimacies, you crave silence, not as a lull before the next thrill, but as the only space where the self dissolves and pure awareness dawns. The unnameable flame mastery isn't skillful performance. It's an unnameable flame kindled in the heart. When asked to describe it, you find words fail, and only the quiet depth of presence remains. Pleasure can be a party. True Tantra is the void after the guests have gone. Empty, luminous, and alive beyond any mirage of mastery. Lineage is Tantra's lifeblood, yet it can also be its poison. Initiation may open doors to ecstasy or slam the psyche into unnoticed fractures. The weight of the secret being, chosen for a rite, feels electrifying. But carrying a secret teaching that no one else understands creates isolation. The initiate risks spiritual narcissism or desperation to validate the privilege. Guru's shadow. Idealizing a teacher blurs boundaries. When masters wield sexual rights as displays of power, devotees can become wounded, their trust twisted into dependency or trauma that no therapy can easily erase. Survivor stories. Whispers in hidden circles tell of practitioners left reeling, emotional breakdowns, identity disintegration, even psychosis after rites meant for liberation. These are the unspoken casualties of misdirected transmission. Navigating lineage safely. The bleak truth. No certification or glowing recommendation guarantees integrity. Discernment, testing a teacher's compassion under fire, is the only shield against lineage wounds. The same ritual that fans the spark of awakening can also ignite a conflagration of trauma. Tantra's secret is as much in its dangers as in its gifts. True mastery demands a price seldom disclosed in marketing blurbs. The steady erosion of egoic comfort and the quiet collapse of every story you cling to. Identity unraveling. Teachers warn, your old self will die. But few speak of the raw panic when your accumulated achievements, relationships, and self-image dissolve under tantric fire, leaving you unmoored in a void without instructions. Relational fallout. As your vibe shifts, lovers and friends may recoil. The ecstatic corridors of Tantra can lead to social exile, abandoning mundane bonds that can't withstand the tremors of your inner alchemy. Loneliness of presence. Mastery is not ecstatic union, but silent solitary clarity. Few admit that the path often ends in solitary vigil, days of fierce stillness so severe that the heart cries out for any human warmth. The hidden sacrifice. Tantra asks you to trade certainty for curiosity, safety for risk, pleasure for the naked gaze. Masters hint at bliss, but rarely map the descent into the abyss that precedes real awakening. Every ritual promises ecstasy, but the deepest rites extract solitude, dissolution, and the raw exposure of self. This is the unspoken cost that true Tantra carries. Tantra wields power over subtle energies, but real mastery lies in surrendering even that power. This is the ultimate paradox: how to guide the flame without becoming its fuel. Holding the space. The tantric adept must contain potent energy without grasping it. This requires a presence that is both firm and fluid, a meeting of steel will and ocean mind. The power paradox. Students often stop at energetic sensations, seeking ever greater heights, but each wave of rapture risks inflating the ego. True mastery is to feel the peak and let it pass, offering the climax back into the void. Surrender as strength. Surrender in Tantra isn't collapse, it's the conscious release of effort. When you let go of controlling energy, you align with its natural flow, transcending both force and passivity. The mirror of relationship. Practicing with a partner, test this balance. You hold space for their opening without dominating. Mirror their vulnerability without merging. The dance is a living metaphor for the inner interplay of power and surrender. The heart that masters Tantra is not the one that conquers energy, but the one that dissolves within it, becoming energy's own wind. We've dissected rituals, exposed the industry, and confronted Tantra's dark underbelly. Yet Tantra's true power unfolds not in isolated ceremonies, but when its precepts infuse every moment, making existence itself a living mandala. Living the mandala, Tantra's iconography, wheel of life, yantras, mandalas, encourages us to see reality as sacred geometry. Beyond the temple Every encounter, every breath can be recognized as a nodal point in the cosmic pattern. Mastery means perceiving the ordinary, washing dishes, walking the street as an unbroken mantra where form and emptiness whirl inseparably. Embodied presence. The great sitter doesn't reserve awareness for cushion time. True Tantra demands that the alchemical fire kindle in the middle of conflict, a heated argument, a broken relationship, the grinding monotony of office labor. In these crucibles, one learns to hold the electric tension of desire and aversion without reactivity, remaining as the unshakable fulcrum at the heart of every storm. Continuous transcendence. Techniques are ladders to insight. Once the perspective shifts, the ladder is redundant. Real Tantra dissolves the boundary between practice and non-practice. There is no off hours. Each moment becomes an opportunity to observe prana surges, lust, resentment, craving, allowing them to arise and dissolve like waves on the ocean of awareness. Ethics as intrinsic flow. We spoke of moral courage and lineage trauma. Now ethics become as subtle as the breath. Each action, speaking, listening, touching, parting, carries the weight of intention. When Tantra is alive, every gesture is an offering. Every choice a reflection of awakened heartstreams rather than habitual reflexes. The sexual rites thus become microcosms of a practice that permeates every cell. Unlearning mastery. Paradoxically, mastery in Tantra involves unlearning the very idea of mastery. No achievement marks the endpoint. Each insight reveals new layers of clinging. The adept cycles through naked vulnerability and luminous clarity, realizing that true power lies in perpetual beginner's mind. This openness prevents stagnation, keeping the path forever fresh and forever dangerous. Community as mirror. Though Tantra can feel intensely personal, integration requires returning insights to the Sangha, sharing vulnerability in peer circles, not for commiseration, but for mutual experimentation, keeps the flame alight. Critique and reflection from trusted companions ensure that practice doesn't calcify into eccentricity or egotism. When Tantra ceases to be an exclusive repertoire of rites and becomes the rhythm of your every heartbeat, you stop doing Tantra and start being it, walking existence as a sacred dance of presence and release. We started this journey by tearing apart the myths of sex Tantra, exposing its commodified shells and hidden wounds. Now I invite you to step into the unspoken space where form dissolves, where Tantra's secret pulses in the silence beyond all rites. Trust the void. Let every technique become a finger pointing to the moon and then dissolve. Do not clutch the forms, for they are but scaffolding. The real temple is the gap between thoughts, the unnameable horizon of awareness where Tantra's elusive spark always was and always remains. Embrace uncertainty. Modern seekers crave certainty. Am I awakened yet? Did I do the practice right? True Tantra laughs at such questions. It demands a willingness to live without a net, embracing the uncharted territory of direct experience, where every moment can erupt into revelation or abyss. Own your hunger. Shame and idealism can both become shackles. Own the raw, insatiable hunger that drives you to explore Tantra's edge. Let that craving be your guide and your teacher of impermanence, rather than a pitfall that pulls you back into samsaric longing. Bow to the mystery. Finally, bow to the mystery you cannot decode. Tantric books, gurus, and rituals are flames that light the path. But the path that remains is a wild, untamed terrain no map can chart. Step into that wilderness with fearless heart, knowing that beyond every threshold only more thresholds await. In the end, sex tantra's deepest secret is this: it has no secret. All the rites, whispers, and initiations dissolve in the crucible of direct knowing. Practice hard, question everything, but never forget to let go. Bow into the silence where Tantra dances in the sheer freedom of being.